All right, we're going to deal with, I'll get the objectives up there in a second. So we're going to deal with our next little section. We're going to deal with some sequences, which are lists of numbers, and series, which are going to be the sum of all of those. I'm saying a bunch, you're just getting your head into math, right? So we're going to add a bunch of them together. This is going to be the whole unit. We're going to have different sections. We're going to have arithmetic. So I'm not saying it incorrectly. That's not the word arithmetic, right? It's arithmetic sequence. It gets its name because it happens to be the arithmetic mean of the numbers around it. Okay, so this is, you're still getting into it. I'm just going to throw this up there for you. The reason it's arithmetic and not arithmetic is, let's do the number, right? The arithmetic mean of the numbers around it is 5. So let's see. The average, the mean, 3 plus 7, divided by the number of terms, 2, happens to be the number in the middle. That's the arithmetic mean. And that has consequences. It means that the number that you add to each term to generate the next will be the same number. So let's start writing this out. And I'm going to say something that's very important right now. I'm not going to write it on the board. Something that's important is you need to hear that the arithmetic sequences are exactly the same and as easy as algebraic linear equations, except they're not connected. So the sooner, as that might mean nothing to you right now, but by the time you do the worksheet today and then you kind of just work through them, as soon as you pick up on that, it's going to be really quite easy. So let's do it. So let's put together. We do things a little bit different when we talk about sequences, even though they're the same thing. So we're talking about discrete math, which is not joined, not continuous, versus continuous, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so I'm showing you an example of how I like to lay out an arithmetic sequence, and this first row right there is the term number, and this row is the term value. So let's keep everything, I'll do down here in purple, I'll keep the corresponding linear thing, right? So this is going to be X and this is going to be Y. It's going to be my input and my output, all right? So over here, my term number, I have my first term, my second term, my third term, my fourth term, my fifth term. So see if you can help me out here. If my first term is 2, and my next term is 5, and I'm generating an arithmetic sequence. I'm generating an arithmetic sequence where the thing I add from my first term to my second term is exactly the same. What would my next term be? 8, 11, 14. Right? So then let's look at this. If this were 1, 2, 2, 5, 3, 8, 4, 11, and then 5, 14, my slope of that line, at time 1 it's 2, at time 3 it's 8, at time 4 it's 11, and at time 5... Oh, that's right.
At this time, we will be conducting a tornado drill. Please proceed to your assigned area at this time. This is a tornado drill.
Right,
please proceed to your assigned area at this time. Thank you.
Let's stay right here. Yeah, just get away from the windows.
Wow. I like that.
Get away from that window. We'll continue.
Okay.
Close the pop. Guys, just close the line.
So I think there's maybe some others come in here.
Oh, dude, I want to swoop.
I'll leave it right there. Normally we show it. Alright. So here's the there's the continuous version of that. The continuous version would be that, versus the discrete version is where they are not continuous. I've got a first term, a second term, a third term, a fourth term, and a fifth term. There is no 1.5th term, 1.7th term. Oh, someone doing that? There is no such term. So realistically, keep it in mind, it's going to be linear. Now, okay, so let's start moving on to some things. So we have to determine if it's arithmetic. So let's put in here things that you're going to need. So if you were here yesterday, you got a little used to this formula, this notation. But if something is arithmetic, a sub n plus 1 minus a sub n will be the difference for all n. Okay, what does that mean? Right? That means, let's see. Let's list these numbers out. These numbers right here list out to be 2, 5, 8. Let's list them under their corresponding. So 2, 5, 8, 11, 14. A list of numbers separated by a comma is a sequence of numbers, right? Sequence of numbers. It can be arithmetic, could be geometric, which you're going to learn about, or it could be neither. Does not have to be anything. Look at them. So let's think. A sub n plus 1. What that means is any term. So I'm going to pick a sub 3 minus a sub n. A sub n plus 1 minus 1. So look what I'm saying. I'm saying a sub n plus 1 minus 1 is a sub n. So a sub 3 minus a sub 2 would equal the difference, and it would also equal a sub 5 minus a sub 4. So let's check that works. What is a sub 3? Well, my third term is 8. So 8 minus my second term is 5. So 8 minus 5 is equal to 3. Well, does that equal my fifth term, which is 14, minus my fourth term, which is 11, equals 3. All right. So an arithmetic, you have to determine. You will have to look at a list of numbers. 1, 3, 7, 11, 15, 12, 9, 6. Which one of those is arithmetic? Well, let's see. 3 minus 1 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. So the difference here was 2, and the difference there was 4. It's obviously not arithmetic. -3, -3, so on and so forth. All right? Now, when you look at it and it's that easy, you can do it. Sometimes when they're larger numbers, you might have to actually do, 12 minus 15. All right, so that's the first objective done. Determine if it is arithmetic. The second objective is write the general formula. Write the general formula for an arithmetic sequence.
Thank you. We can head back to class.
I know. Oh, I've got to move rooms too. That's not gonna be the same next year. Oh. So we're gonna write the formula now. The formula will be linear, so it's gonna be nice and easy. But let's just pick a sequence. Let's here, write me one out, right? So someone I'm going to pick 11. Someone give me the next note. One person give me a number. Who speaks first, speaks loud? 16. Okay, someone, not you, has to now pick the next term. 21, thank you. All right, and then 26, and so on and so forth, right? All right, so now we need to write that equation. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to teach you the easy way first, and then I'm going to teach you the following the formula way, right? So we said that we went up by 5, up by 5, up by 5, up by 5. So what's my difference? 5. So when I do, that would also be known in Algebra 1 as what? My slope. Right? So here you go, 11, 16, 21, there's your slope, it's 5. So the easy way that I will do it in my head when I'm looking over your shoulder is I will pick the slope and I will say the general formula. So look what I just wrote. I just wrote A sub n. In algebra, that would be f of x. It doesn't mean any different other than it's discrete, that they're not continuous. So as you're learning it, just treat it like that in your mind. So A sub n. So I said my slope was 5. Now, my first term is 11. So if I plugged 1 in here, so let's all imagine, right? So I plug 1 in here. This is supposed to be my formula. I plug 1 in. 5 times 1 gives me what number? 5. Okay, does 5 equal 11? No, that's not going to work. What do I have to do? What do I have to add or subtract to 5 to get it to 11? Add 6. So boom, you've just found the shortcut. That's how you do it, right? The formula following way is this. And I'm going to lean towards probably giving you the formulas. I understand you're all tired at the end of the year, and as long as you're working. So I'm going to give you this formula. So the formula is the general formula, so A sub n, that's like the f of x, is your first term plus your n minus 1 times the difference. So let's do it. So we said our first term was 11. So the formula is 11 plus n minus 1 times the difference, which you noted was 5. So now you would clean that up by doing your PEMDAS. What comes first? So A sub n is 11 plus 5n minus 5. Combine your like terms. A sub n is 5n plus 6. Yeah, I do too. But so it depends. Some people learn different ways, different things. Yeah, could do, possibly. Now, sometimes it's going to be useful. Now, there's always bigger numbers, fractions, things in your head, you know. All right. So, all right, that's that. Then you're going to get to practice. So that's that, finding the formula. Now, the other thing that sometimes you're going to have to find the general formula when you are not given your first term. So what do I mean by that? Let's say I say A sub 7 is equal to 5, and let's say A sub 11 is equal to 17. And I said, write the formula of that. So at its lowest level, like if you wanted to work your way out of a wet paper bag, right? You'd figure out what's going on. You'd say, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My seventh term is 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and my 11th term is 17. Right? So I'm just showing you kind of. So you would know, you could figure out the difference by saying, all right, for me to get from this term to this term, I'd have to add one difference. And then to get from that term to that term, I'd have to add another difference. And so on and so forth. To get there, I'd have another difference. Last one, I'd add a fourth difference. So you could calculate your difference by saying 5 plus 4 differences equals 17. So 17 minus 5 over 4 would be equal to your difference. Right? Whether you show the lines, that'd be silly. You don't really have to do that. I'm just getting your head into the right place. So your difference is now 12 over 4, which is 3. So your difference is 3. So you know your formula is going to be A sub n is going to be 3n. Then you've got to get your first term. But you don't know how to get that. So now what you can say is, if I know my 5th term, if I know my 7th term is 5, let's go this way. 1 difference, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 differences would get me my first term. So you could say, or here's an, actually, you know what? Let's extend that. Okay, so I'm going to find my first term and plug it into this formula right here. Right? You could find your first term and then plug it into that formula. You could do that. Or we could extend what we've just done. So let's say we found our difference was 3. A sub n is definitely going to be 3n. But now, look, I know my 7th term is 5. So if I do A sub 7 is 3 times 7, 3 times 7 is 21. How do I turn 21 into 5? Subtract 16. So your formula is 3n minus 16. Did I say it was my 7th term? Yeah, my 7th term. All right. So you could have two options. I could have gone back. So once I found what my difference was, once I found my difference to be 3 by doing this, 7th term plus 4 differences gets me 17, linear, isolate it. I could have then counted back and said 5 minus 6 differences would be my first term. And once I have my first term, then I could use the good old formula right here. Right? And everyone needs to write that down on either a sheet of paper or your desk, because it's not on the sheet. We were kind of working it out. So you can use that anytime you want. Maybe I'll start writing it up here. I'll write it up. So I'll write it in a minute. So you could have used that, or we used the same strategy we used before. We said, okay, my 7th term is 5. I know that for sure. If I plug in 7, it gets me 21. But I need to make 21 into 5. How do I do that? Oh, I subtract 16. Oh. Okay. Do you want to check it's right? Let's do, if I think the answer is 3n minus 16, and I know my 8, 9, 10, 11th term is 17, it should be 3 times 11 is how much? Minus 16. Oh my goodness, I'm writing the answer. Is 33 minus 16 equal to 17? Yes, it is. So you're good. Right? Okay, so it seems like me doing a lot of teaching and talking, and it's much easier than I can hear it coming across to you guys right now at the end of the day on the pretty close to the end of school. So get practicing and you'll see it. One thing I have to say is remember it's linear, because when I bring geometric out and then remembering that's exponential, knowing linear and exponential is a huge focal point for this unit. Okay, because you got to remember you're just starting and there'll be all these other things. So do that. I will stop this and then I'll get the